Hey everyone, this is Olay Shorunke from Laddering Your Success, and you're listening to the LYS Podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Folks, happy Sunday. Merry Christmas. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. Hope you got what you wanted. I hope you got something close to what you asked for. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you ate good. I don't know about you, Festus. We did a pretty good job. I'm not one to pat myself on the back, but there's nothing wrong with appreciating yourself for a job well done. All right.
In terms of what you cook for Christmas, or
yeah,
or
Christmas really isn't that big in our house, so the gifts weren't really flowing like that. The food was more flowing, like that.
Yeah.
But I tell you what happened. Me and my brothers, we decided on pot roast.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to HEB, and when I got to HEB, I was looking for like 5 pounds. I wanted a 5 pound of chuck roast, and the most they had was like 3-4 pounds. And so I asked the butcher, and he was like, "Well, for a couple cents more, you can get Wagyu." And I was like, "Say less. Bring the Wagyu. Bring the Wagyu."
Goodness. Yeah.
So man, I got that Wagyu, saw that marbling.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the best things I've ever.
You said a couple cents more. I was like, y'all had a rich people Christmas. Y'all had
Hey, you know what's crazy?
Y'all had beef.
Hey, look. The crazy thing is, so we made that. I made like this cauliflower mash, and then veggies on the side with the pot roast and all that stuff. My brother made some risotto.
Yeah. Okay. You did with the risotto?
Yeah, we did our thing.
With the wine and the stir.
So my brother comes to me, he's like, "Hey, like, I'm not even full. Like, I feel like, we can still, do some stuff." I was like, "Bro, hey, man, let's make this the norm, man. Let's do this every year. I'm down for it." We started thinking about Thanksgiving next year. I'm like, what can we do with the turkey? What can we do with the turkey to make the turkey better next year?
What they calling it now? The smash cock or the grab cock, where they turn the turkey inside? I was like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh man, people getting fancy. I remember that. They getting fancy with it.
But you know what's great? I don't know what it is. Like when you understand, how a lot of the things that we used to question when we were kids, and we talk about this, especially with LYS, in our households, it was like, don't ask me these questions. Just shut up and do what I say.
Yeah.
But when you really understand learning, the importance of being told why, it helps you give you a wider perspective and understanding of your world.
Yeah.
And so, you understand about things like when they spread stuff like that. I don't know if it's maybe because you're able to cook the meat at a
exactly.
Even,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just having an understanding of those things. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?
Well, so, and I think the thing is too, there's so many multiple levels of like tying things into our purpose and our vision. And if you don't have the why, it's really hard to tie things in. You know what I mean? And so, I know we're talking about vision today, and we're going to throw on a little bit about scholarships. And it's like, okay, people just say, oh, apply for scholarships. Well, if you don't have the why of what you're doing after you graduate, you don't know which ones you're going after. You don't know how many to go after. You just kind of in this gray area, and it's like, do what? And so yeah, man. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Oh, wonderful. All right, folks. I think this is our fourth. I think this is our fourth. So we've completed we've been doing this for a month.
Yeah.
I remember because I was coming back from Dallas, our first one in early December. That would have been the 5th. Yeah. December 5th, I think, was our first one. And I'm so happy, so excited at what we're able to do and what we're on the verge of doing here with LYS. Let's go over a little bit what we talked about so far. So far, we've talked about some of the things like, how do students deal with parents who push them in a certain direction? How are you able to navigate? What can parents do to help students find that path that they're supposed to go on, kind of without putting too much of their own view for their child into the child? How do you have the student figure that thing out for themselves? And so we did this little activity that we love doing, where we made 3 circles. We talked about things the world needs, or what are problems that you see in the world, right? Because every single person will see different problems according to their own worldview. Things that you're good at and things that you can get paid for. And filling those things out and kind of finding your purpose, or finding a sense of of, that skill, that trait, that ability that you have, and moving from there, right? Because I think one of the most important things is to find out, like, these are the things. These are my things that I'm good at. These are my things that I love, that I'm passionate about. And most importantly, I think we talked about what is vision, right? Like, we talk about it, but what does it really mean to sit down and understand what your vision is for yourself, for your family, for your life? And we said that vision is sight. Vision is something that is seen, of course, but it's not in the sense of what you normally see, right? It's a sense of a realistic view of what you see for yourself in the future. And how do you get there? And I think another big question that we asked was why? Why? And I think one of the first questions that we're going to ask today is a very big why question. All right. Well, I'm sorry. I think we talked about it last week. Why do I exist, or what is my purpose? What is my purpose? And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to start off by sharing something. I've been trying to set this up for some time here, Festus, so let me know if it's working well. I got my little whiteboard here.
There you go. I see you with the technology.
Technically LYS is a tech company. Don't let them fool you.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about going to, let's see here. Hold on, let me get this. Make sure I got this. BLS. All right. Sorry. Let me undo.
That's not the one, though. that's not, yeah. No, you're at the right website, but there you go. BLS.gov. There you go.
.gov. I know, right? Like, this was a big, because I wanted to use this in my classroom too, but I had issues with it. You would not believe what I got going on. Right? I just ordered some gloves. There's some gloves that you can actually buy to make this easier for yourself, because it is kind of hard. BLS.gov/OOH. And this was the occupational
Outlook handbook.
And you said there's a lot of really cool, useful information here for occupations, for job skills, careers that you can look into. And this is just, that was just fascinating. I'm thinking about if we would have known about this when we were in high school or in middle school.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's really fascinating. So I just wanted to keep that up there so people could see that, make sure we highlighted that.
I think that's a pretty good segue. If I could hop in just for a second.
Most definitely.
We got a couple guests on with us. They're not going to have to speak, okay? And so if you guys ever want to join us, if you're watching this video like later and you're like, hey, how do I get on? I got questions I want to ask, and I see it on a Facebook Live, and sometimes they'll look at the Facebook Live, sometimes they won't. But you could actually just get a ticket and you could join us and sit through the whole thing with us. It's like an audience, you know what I'm saying? So it's cool. Like, look at technology and how technology helps us do certain things. But I'm gonna hop on this because with the BLS.gov, and we're talking about vision, oftentimes when we have a limited vision, sometimes it's due to limited exposure, right? And so if we're thinking about different types of careers we can do, every time you kind of hear someone talk about careers, they're like, well, doctor, lawyer, engineer. That's what you really hear them talk about. Maybe you'll hear a teacher every now and then. And so the thing is, there's a whole bunch of different opportunities out there, right? A whole bunch of different opportunities. And I'm going to break down some, I guess you could say, like, academic terms, okay? And so if you're taking notes, this is a good part to take notes, okay? There are things called career clusters, okay? And so in a career cluster, you think about something, let's say farming, right? And in farming, there's all these different things that stem from farming, or let me say agriculture, not farming. The actual term is agriculture. So, ooh, brother, that's not the one. so the agriculture.
Yeah, no, I'm trying my best. I'm so sorry.
he's like, quickly line. But anyway, so agriculture, you might have watering and watering technology. You might have tractors and mechanical technology. You might have like storing and silos and storing technology. If you're talking about ranch, you might have meat processing. So there's all of these different things that stem from this one career cluster. So if a person says, well, I want to work in, when they throw out doctor, right? Let's say medical field. And so if you think about the field, you have doctors, nurses, you have radiologists, you have occupational therapy, physical therapy. There's all of these different things within this field. And so why is that important? So let's say you're looking for scholarships, but you're not decided on exactly what you want to do. look at other scholarships in that field, because sometimes what happens is, like I said, I'm throwing out some game here. A particular program at a particular school might offer some scholarships. And that career cluster, you have to think about what's called a career pathway. And so there is certain milestones you have to reach in order to get there. So that's why BLS.gov is good, because you can look all this stuff up, right? It's readily available. It's easy to read for most cases. But in that career pathway, you could say, okay, well, look, I want to go into the medical field. Well, they're not going to offer scholarships just for the medical field. They're going to offer it for occupational therapy, or they're going to offer it for nursing, right? And so you could kind of sit down and start to think and process like, okay, well, if I'm gonna go this route and they're offering this amount of scholarship money, then maybe that's something I want to pursue, right? And why is that? Because you don't want to just say, hey, I'm going to college and that's it, and I'm gonna just go. Like that's, you don't even go to a grocery store like that. If you go to a grocery store, you're gonna have at least a list of 2 or 3 things you need. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're gonna come out looking like Friday. You got peanut butter, no jelly. You got Kool-Aid, no sugar. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want
no burger.
Exactly. You don't want to do that, right? So you want to make sure you have the vast majority of your ducks in a row, so that you can say, okay, well, I'm gonna go to this school, and let's say I'm undecided on my major. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with my major. I can at least look and say, okay, they got 3 medical programs. So if I don't do nursing, I could do OT. If I don't do OT, I'm gonna do PT. If I don't do PT, I'm gonna do radiology, right? Or radiologist tech. Or if I'm gonna do pre-med, I know that pre-med means I could actually go into the 10 or 11, 12, 13 different, well, actually there's probably about 50 different types of physicians that are out there that you could specialize in, right? And so these are things that will be in your head that will get you to go a certain path, right? You could be a thoracic surgeon, you could be an OBGYN, there's so many different types of things in that. And so finding out the career cluster and the career pathway helps with that vision, and then helps with the scholarship pursuit. So Olay, with that, I'm gonna toss it back to you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Festus. I think one of the things that, actually real quick before I even get to my next question, I gotta take some time to just give a quick shout out to the people that are actually here. These are our first guests, really. Mr. Daniel Hill. I don't know what more I can say about Mr. Daniel Hill. Well, I haven't said anything, so let me at least say something. Daniel Hill has been a teacher who I've worked with since I started working as a teacher. Man, just one of the most humble, nice, smart, forward-thinking gentlemen I have ever met, and just one of the most consistent people I've met. Just an awesome guy, and anything that he sees the true spirit of, he is going to join in it, and he is going to push it. And that's what I've seen him do with LYS. And there've been some things. I've been with LYS for about 5-6 years, and there've been some things he's been talking about that I was like, what? How'd you know? Yeah, I was on y'all's website. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, wow, cool. Yeah, thanks, man. So, just to have him buy into everything that we're doing, it really makes a lot of what we're doing. And so, Daniel, thank you so much. And I think you said it was your niece. I think this is your niece with you, Amiya. Hey, Amiya, do you have a last name?
Taylor Hill.
Taylor Hill. All right. If you can, I want you to, if you can, it's okay. But I want you to put that last name there on that thing there. Primarily because you gotta never be afraid. I don't want to say afraid. Always let people know your last name. That's what I'm saying. Always let people know where you come from. Take pride in that. And I know you're related to Mr. Hill, so I know you come from a good place. Amaya, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing well. I was about to say better than I deserve, like I'm Dave Ramsey. Only because I watch so many. Better than I deserve. Let's say something. Daniel, did you want to say something?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, man. This Wi-Fi keeps saying I can't.
Uncle, go upstairs.
Okay, bully.
The Wi-Fi's better up there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm outside. Yeah, she already know. But yeah, man, this is a great program, man. The way y'all want to mentor kids and help them and get their scholarships, this is this is changing lives. So that was one of the reasons she was trying to see if there was a way she can get her friends all and talk to different churches for y'all to help y'all actually grow this, because the program y'all have is really great, man. Because these kids need visions. Like, she's trying to figure out which college she wants to go. Right now is Roll Tide, but having a vision and then because a lot of kids want to go out of state. And as you know, like, because he actually has his book which actually helps get scholarships. You already know that out of state tuition is double.
Yeah.
So she was coming here to get, advice for the mentoring program for y'all teachers, like how y'all been teaching. Just now, y'all was teaching me you have to have a vision, you have to have goals, you got to do this. But then at the same time, I actually heard her say something about scholarships. So this right here is just an amazing program, which could help kids get visions and then help them move and get into scholarships later on. So yeah, it's a great program, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Amaya, was there any particular question that you had that you wanted to try about when it comes to anything you're dealing with? Is it whether it be scholarships, trying to find a major, vision, anything like that? Was there any particular question that you had?
Well, for school-wise, I want to go in a field where I can be a traveling nurse. And then for scholarships, I think the only thing that I was confused about was the FAFSA part.
Okay. Now, what we could do, man, I really wish we could go through the entire FAFSA thing with you. Olay, is it okay if I screen share for a little bit? Let me screen share.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Let me see. Okay. Boom. Okay. Oh, man. I don't want this thing here. How do I stop this? How do I hide this? Hide video. Okay. Is that? No. I need to hide the other thing. There we go. Okay. So I'll try to kind of almost go step by step, because you said nursing, you said Roll Tide, you said FAFSA. Okay. So let's do this. So the boom.fast.gov.edu. See, I be on here so much. FAFSA.ed.gov. Okay, so it's actually studentaid.gov. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, and unfortunately or fortunately, since we just have a limited amount of time today, we can't go through the entire FAFSA process. But essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to start out with you and or your parents' tax returns, right? Because that's kind of what they use to determine how much money you get, right? And so there's all different types of FAFSA, and there's 1,000 different ways to slice it, right? And that's why having that vision is important, because you also want to just know what your end goal is. Okay, so you're going to get your tax returns, your parents' tax returns. You're going to come here. You're going to click Start Here. What's going to happen is they actually have a way of being able to pull your tax returns from the IRS, right? But we're not going to be able to go too deep into it just because of the limited time and scope of what we're doing today. But basically, you're going to come here, you can have your parent do it, you can have a student do it, or there's actually people who actually walk through it and do it with you. Oftentimes, they will help you with this at your school. So usually if you talk to your high school counselor, they will have like a FAFSA day or something like that. I helped Elsa do theirs, I'm gonna say about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And the sad part is Elsa got like 3,000-4,000 students. It was like 5 people there doing their FAFSAs. And it's like, come on, man, especially if somebody's gonna help you walk through it, right? So that's the big thing. I would check with them with that. And just try to look up the next night that they're going to do it. If not, you could just do it with your parents. It's actually pretty easy. Sometimes there's just questions you might have. And that's where it's helpful to have somebody just kind of walk with you through it. And so I'm going to go slightly off of your particular circumstance, because I know a little bit about your circumstance, but I don't want to put you on blast, put people out there. But anyway, so in my situation, I was a student doing it for myself.
She don't care, bro. She don't care.
Like, put me on blast.
Exactly. Free money, bro.
But go ahead.
No, bro. I'm just saying, man. It's like this. We are country people, bro. We don't give a dang who knows when it comes to getting this free money to help us to succeed. Like, it don't matter. I won't care. My brother don't care. Just help people.
Okay, cool.
I completed my FAFSA.
Okay,
Like,
cool. That's good.
The part that's confusing me is when, like, I started my applying for a scholarship, and then it started to ask me questions about my FAFSA,
Okay.
and that's the part I was confused about.
So generally, there's only about 3 or 4 questions that they can really ask you. Part of it is some legal issues, but is usually the one thing they want to ask you is your EFC, your expected family contribution. And so once your FAFSA was filled out, they usually give you a little number that says EFC. And then that EFC is how much money the government anticipates for you to get from your family, right? It doesn't mean that your family has to come up with that amount of money, because it only means that is how much, like there's a certain stopping point of what they're going to give you. Almost everybody gets a Pell Grant off top, right? Almost everybody. And so a Pell Grant is usually, I think right now it's like $5,600, like $5,600. So you split that up into 2 semesters, right? So it's about $3,000 a semester roughly. And so now you have to look at your total price. And so we'll hop in here. Let me just Google it.
Amaya, were you able to find your EFC?
On my FAFSA? My dad has all that information.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he doesn't want me to go in there and mess it up.
Well, yeah, you're just gonna need that number from him, that EFC number, because usually that's the only thing they really ask you, right? And so we will kind of break this up, right? So sorry, I got a little text message there. So yeah, so usually they'll just ask you about your EFC if you're filling out for outside scholarships, right? If they're asking you for all this other stuff, then it depends. It depends on who you're filling out for scholarships with. I would be cautious about how much information they ask for, because there's a lot of scammers out here, right? So yeah, so let's go here. Okay, so all right, and this is something that your uncle was just bringing up, right? Since you're going out of state, it's 30 grand a year, right? For the tuition, just the tuition. And why is that significant? Because they'll have this room and board costs, which is what they're anticipating for you to stay there, right? So usually for incoming freshmen living on campus, this is what they're gonna charge, right? But you can do off campus, which might save a little bit of money. But depending on the school, some of them have requirements for you to be on campus, right? And then your board cost, which is your food. Usually they'll have like a dining hall, dining pass. And so that's how much that is, right? Is this helpful information? We're good? Amaya?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Okay, and then these are the other different things that they're gonna charge you for. So I typically talk about, like, a lot of times at school, they talk about scholarships in terms of, paying for education, but there's also ways to save money on your education, right? So for example, if you had a roommate and you stayed off campus, you might be able to save a little bit of money. Who knows? It depends. And so these are some of the things that you want to talk to your parents about and start to look at. Like, okay, if let's say if I did an Airbnb with somebody, especially in a place like Alabama, right? Because and I'm not trying to knock Alabama, but it's just the reality. It's probably a college town. And so that means everything in the town is based off of college, right? Because if you go to different places like Houston or New York or whatever, they got so many different other things out there, right? But some of these places are just college towns. So their resources are all kind of centered around the college. And so you might be able to get like an Airbnb for like $500 a month, you know what I'm saying? Or something like that. And just rent out a room somewhere, right? So there's ways to be creative of doing stuff like that. Board, again, if you want to eat on campus, it might be the best thing because there might not be a grocery store close by. So these are different types of things you want to think about. Same thing with books. They're anticipating $800 in books, but if you're going in the medical field, I know my neuropsychology book was $350, like just one book. And so what you want to do is you want to look at resources like Chegg, right? CHEGG, Chegg, and look for books online at those different kind of places, right? And also one of the big things that they don't tell you about is when you get to campus, look for somebody who has your major, who just took the classes, and try to buy the books from them, right? Because they're going to probably go try to sell those in the bookstore at the end of the semester. And the bookstore is only going to give you maybe anywhere from 25 to 40% of that price, right? And in terms of them buying it back. But you could go to somebody and be like, let me give you 60%. So for example, let's say there's a book that's $100, right? You could say, yo, I'll give you $65 or $70 for that book. The bookstore is only going to give them 40. You see what I'm saying? So there's different ways of saving money like that, right? Transportation, it depends. Is a big campus, how far you got to get to campus? You could ride a bike, you can save money right here, right? So these are different kind of things you start to think through, right? Or if you do have a car, you could be like, yo, I'm gonna make some money instead, right? I'm gonna give people rides to the washateria, to the grocery store like that. I'm gonna pick up some bread that way, right? So there's different ways of hustling this school thing, right? Miscellaneous, you know, they're talking books and stuff like that. Just go to Walmart about a month before school starts, get all your stuff on the low, or you can wait like right after school starts to get the stuff on the low then too, okay? So these are just some different things because, you know, you see this price and like I said, your Pell Grant might be about $6,000. Well, where's the other $45,000 gonna come from? You see what I'm saying? So these are just some things to think through, okay? So here on their website, and most websites are kind of designed like this, where they will have grants and their scholarships that they already have out there, right? So again, make loans the last thing you look at. Look for things like grants. Okay, see, like they put the federal Pell Grant right at the top, just because this is a federal supplemental educational grant. That's usually for people with lower fees. Now, here's the catch-22 about that, right? Since you filled out your FAFSA early, you want to apply to the school early, because the way that this money is processed, okay, they go based off of who came first. It's first come, first serve. And they'll say, okay, we anticipate Amiya and 1,000 other people coming. Well, she's the one who got her paperwork and her stuff in first. So we're going to make sure we allot a certain amount of this money to her. And that money dwindles down as the time goes on. So people who are filling out their stuff late, they're gonna have access to a little bit less money. See, here it says right here, funding is very limited on this program, is not guaranteed to students. So these are some things that you want to kind of throw out there and consider, right? Let me see. So see, this one's for Alabama students. So Alabama, they're trying to guarantee a certain amount of money for particular students, right? Off top, right? So, and then you got your work study. So those are some things that are available to almost any and every student, right? So now, and if I'm going too long, if I'm being too long-winded on this, just be like, yo, holla at me about something else. But I like using their website because you can see the actual things going on there, right? So now let's look at how you could break some of this down, right? So let's look at academics, okay? And then let's look at programs of study. And we said we're going undergrad, right? And so for undergrad, we're looking for, what was it? College of, I just seen it, it's nursing, right? So we're looking for this College of Nursing. Where'd it go? Okay, so we're looking for their Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, which, and I don't want to throw you off too much because there's a whole nother way you could do this to actually save like a bunch of money. Let me see. They don't.
So, Amaya, I wanted to ask, I'm sure you've had this conversation with several family members. Are you dead set on the University of Alabama? Is that like for sure where you want to go?
I've always been wanting to go there, but if I can't or it doesn't work out for me, it's fine. I'll just go, I guess, either in state.
Oh, I was only asking because Festus mentioned a very important thing. He said there may be a way for you to do this where you can save a lot of money. And so if your mind is set on it, for sure, do it. But I just want to make sure that you know of all the options that are for you, that are out there for you, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's see. See, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, let me see. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. I think that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so this is a good point. Okay, so again, I don't want to get you too far off, but I just want to show, because this is where what we're talking about, having a vision and then looking at the resources makes so much sense, and it has to work hand in hand, right? So I'm gonna show you some things here, right? So you got the program here, okay? The nursing program, this is what you want to do with nursing, okay? And this is why you got to dig on these websites, right? I'm a person who don't just go to the main page, okay? Because look, boom, you got some info here. You know who the dean is, the senior associate dean, the associate dean. So now you could start, oh, let me send them some emails, ask them about their program. Let me ask them about scholarships. Let me tell them my situation, even beforehand, right? Because if I click on one of these names, you could probably find their email, just Google searching their name. But you could say, even before I go, let me ask them to see what my odds are, right? Because especially if you get accepted, you want to be able to go all the way through and graduate. You don't want to just, oh, I went and, you know, such and such and such happened. But there's some good stuff here, because, and this is where having a mentor in your particular field or major is important, because you're like, oh, I could go do the regular BSN, they call it Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, or I could do the RN to BSN, which means you could actually get an associate's degree in nursing, or get a RN license, and then transfer it to a Bachelor of Science in nursing. And because of where you're at in your age, you actually have some really, really good options available, right? But this is what I love to do on a website like this. I love to come and I love to come and look at things like this, the transfer credit. So transfer credit is accepted if the lower division course content is deemed equivalent to that is required in the curriculum of the college. So why is this important, right? And then you have courses taken in the College of Continuing Studies, which is a slightly different, right? Because that's a whole nother thing that colleges do. But what you could do is you could say, look, what I'm gonna do to reduce my cost, right? I'm gonna reduce my cost of my education. I'm not, scholarships, I can't really do nothing about scholarships, right? I'm either gonna win them or I'm not, but I'm gonna apply as much as I can. But what I can do is I could get creative and I can reduce my overall cost, right? So if you got a piece of paper, put down that 51,000, because that's what that said, right? It was 51,000, and then you're gonna minus, let's say 6,000, which your Pell Grant would possibly be. Let's see if we could get creative about how we can reduce the overall price, right? Because scholarships isn't the only way, right? There's other things you could do that could be creative. And so this transfer credit is a key factor in how you could reduce your overall tuition. Because if you come in, let's say you did your high school program, you had college credit applied, that's great. But let's say you didn't have college credit applied, you could do what's called credit by exam, right? And so if I click here on their website, okay, I could look at their credit by exam policy, right? And so this is if, again, you did advanced placement, you did IB in high school. These are kind of new things. They're kind of new. It depends on your high school you went to. But basically, you could come over here and you could do what's called credit by exam through a program called CLEP, okay? And so here's what they're saying. Credit hours earned by examination are out of class experiences are not considered university issued coursework. Therefore, they may not be applied towards fulfillment of the minimum 50% of coursework is earned bachelor's degree. Okay, so basically what they're saying here is they want you to do at least 50% of your work at University of Alabama, which is cool. That's completely fine. We're looking for how much percentage you could do elsewhere. So, and I put this in the ebook. I think you got my ebook on scholarships. So based off of their credit by exam, this is what they accept, right? So that means if you go and take credit by exam is $90, okay? It's about $90, like $87. And you could go on the College Board right? A website, and you can basically apply to sit for these courses, and you just take a test. You take a test on that credit. And what they're saying is, look, based off of our catalog, what University of Alabama, their course catalog is, this is the equivalent. So if you score this, if you score a 50 on American government, we're going to give you credit for Psychology 101. Now listen, this is I'm talking to some clutch stuff here. I don't know if you're hearing me. I know I'm getting excited, but think about that. $51,000, okay? Because what they're anticipating is you're going to take a minimum of 4 to 5 classes, right? And that 4 to 5 classes you're taking a semester. Let me get my little calculator out here. Okay, 51,000, and then you're taking 4 classes a semester, so you're going to take 8 to 10 classes total. Let's go 10 divided by 10. Basically, if you look at my calculator, you got $5,100 per class that you're taking. So for every one of these that you would take, you're going to save $4,800.
Wow.
If that's not a bar, I don't know what a bar is. You know what I'm saying? If that's not a bar, I don't know what a bar is. But
what's a bar?
You see what I'm saying? And
That's all bars, nigga. That's every bar, bro.
And
I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, and Amiya, look, we're doing this at the school you want to go to, because that means you're going to be able to go to your school. Why? Because you're going to save a lot of money. It's still going to be expensive, $51,000, because it's out of state, right? And I'm not knocking. I'm not one of these people who just is a dream killer. You know what I'm saying? If that's what your dream is, go, but know what it's going to cost you, right? That's all I'm saying, right? And so now you could be creative, because okay, these are all things you're going to have to take almost anyway. Right? You're going to have to take most of these anyway. Well, not all that French and German and stuff, but you're going to have to take government. You're going to have to take colonization, human growth and development, intro to psychology, sociology. You'll probably have to take those. And so this is where, if you get the course catalog, right? If you get the nursing program course catalog, these are all the courses you have to take as a nurse to graduate from here. All you have to do is go to the CLEP program. You could literally go on this, and I'll make sure I put this in the chat, right? So that you'll have this for you to look at later. You could go line by line and say, okay, they said I have to take this, I have to take this, I have to take this, I have to take this. So you're gonna write down all the different courses. See, biology, so this is non-majors. So this is biology for majors, okay? Chemistry, you're probably gonna have to take that because it's science, right? You're doing the science. So this is all of them that they offer. So what that means is, now, let's say you take 10 of these, you're going to save $41,000. You see what I'm saying? That's almost a year off of going. You see what I'm saying? And because they're upfront and saying, hey, this is what we accept, you're basically saving, well, $41,000 off of, because if you go there all 4 years, you're looking at $204,000.
Something like that. Yeah, right.
Something in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? So that's where you want to get kind of creative, because okay, if I'm saving 41, I know I'm gonna come out around 110, depending on the Pell Grant, plus those other scholarships that I might be able to obtain, right? And fill those out. Was it
50 or was it 30?
No, it was 50, bro.
It was 50?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. He's right. It was 30,000 for the basic, just to go, and then 51 with everything. So either way it goes,
Yeah. Sorry.
So Festus, so you're saying Amaya could realistically just go on Amazon, buy a CLEP study guide book for early American history, early colonization to 1877.
Yeah.
Study that, sit in for a CLEP, make around the range that they want, send that information to the University of Alabama, and she'll get that credit hour.
Correct, man. I'm sitting here looking for this. I'm like, how can I put this in the chat? Olay got some stuff in the chat. My bad. I'm like, what happened to my Zoom? Am I still here? I don't know where I'm at anymore. But no, you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct, Olay. And you can just go. You can go on College Board. They have resources there too. And I know but I feel
like Don't Be a Menace. Every time they do a pop-up, you'd be like, Message.
Y'all too young to know about the Don't Be a Menace to South Central while being a decent hood. But yeah, so yeah, and then anyway, so and unfortunately, we only like to do these calls for 30 minutes to an hour, and we're borderline. We're hitting up to close to an hour here. But I do want to show you some other things, Amaya, because this is, if you think this thing through all the way, right? Because even at 200K, you're like, God, wait, 200K, that's a lot of money. And then on top of that, like you said, you want to do travel nursing and stuff like that. So what you could do is you could come, again, this is that BLS Occupational Outlook Handbook, right? You could come over here to healthcare, okay? And then you could look and you say, wow, now I got all of these different career, am I still sharing? I'm still screen sharing.
Yes.
I got all these different things that are available to me, right? Let me look at how much nursing is making right now. Let me see, okay. That's still nursing assistants. And we're not even talking about nurse anesthetists, right? We're not even, and nurse practitioners, because that's where the real money at, right? My cousin's a nurse practitioner. Shout out to Wande. Where the nurses at? It should just say nurses. Okay, registered nurses here. So boom, I know I'm gonna make roughly this coming out of school with a bachelor's. So now you can start to do some calculations if you understand the cost of living, where you're at, and then how long it's going to take you to pay off that debt. Or if you're like, yo, I'm gonna still stay with my parents for a little bit after college, and I'm hoping that it's going to take me 2 or 3 years to finish out and get on my feet. This is what I'm looking at making. You see what I'm saying? Now, again, and again, and now, Amaya, you can stop listening to me right here, okay, if you want, but if not, but see, this is how I think, right? I'm like, yo, if you're in a situation like I was, you lost your parents aren't really that supportive and stuff like that. I'm thinking like, yo, an associate's degree for respiratory therapy, and I can make 60 grand. You could do respiratory therapy at a community college for $5,000-6,000 a semester. I mean, for a year, I'm sorry. So you see how there's different ways of breaking things down. And with that, I'm gonna stop to share because I know we got to close out here soon. But you see how there's different ways of just breaking down how you could actually save money and calculate what your education is going to cost you, how long it's going to take you to pay it off, if you choose to go that route. But there's a ton of different routes that you can go. And so again, for anybody who is a student and they're like, yo, there's a lot of game, for $15, you could get our ebook that we have. Go to www.ladderingyoursuccess.com/students. And there's an ebook that we sell for $15. It's the 2020 to 2021 scholarship guidebook. And we put a lot of this information in there, the do's and don'ts about scholarships, how to look for them, the information on CLEP is in there. There's a whole bunch of different information in there, and it's $15. We try to price it in a way that you could afford it, even if it's like, my parents or no, somebody ain't really supportive of me. So that's that. Now, if you're still looking for overall guidance and you're like, woo, dude, I don't even know where to go, you could just go, same website, www.ladderingyoursuccess.com, and you could get our book. Okay, or you could look for it on Amazon, and that will help give you general guidance and direction for where you want to go. Olay, sorry for taking up a lot of your time, bro. I know you were spitting hot fire, and so I get excited about these things.
Never apologize, sir. You gave $1 million worth of game for free 99. No, sir. I could never.
I want my check. It better be in a man. No, I'm just.
No, that's awesome. Daniel, I know you had a question. If you hold on after,
let's take the questions and then we could close out.
Okay, man. Okay, cool. Daniel, you want to go ahead with your question?
Yeah, cool. Appreciate it, bruh. You just he changed the game, bro. Like I didn't know none of this stuff. Mama over there smiling now because she was thinking she also really liked Houston, but that's out of state. But when you changed the whole game about. I knew nothing about $90 classes. Maybe how much money I could have saved, $90. But hey, I want to say that this right here was like a real straight down a mentoring day. Like y'all literally took my niece from like vision to help her understand it all the way how to even enroll and how to get discount. Dude, this video needs to be shared everywhere, bro. Like this right here was like a game changer. The other thing I was going to say, my question was, she had a question too about the book because she got the book and my other homeboy just bought the book too, man. And he just wants to know on think he might get both, but I know he got the scholarship one. He just needs a little bit help because he's not, well, he's trying to get real good with actually filling out the scholarship. So he was wondering, like, he's struggling to actually know how to actually do the scholarships, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I think I do understand what you're saying. He's looking for quantity of the execution of actually filling out the forms and stuff. So here's a couple things. We are looking at doing a scholarship workshop coming up probably in March or April. It would be good that we're going to sell tickets to that, but again, they're going to be reasonable, right? They're going to be really reasonable. And so, that'd be perfect. Thank you, Maya. And so that would be a time where we could actually sit down and break down and go through some of this stuff, because again, we're just kind of limited in time here. But the big thing is I think looking at all the things he qualifies for, and then looking at if they're repetitive or if they're like one time, right? Because and I'll say this too, it's good to know the school you want to go to. Like with Amoye, if you're able to say, yo, this is where I'm thinking about going, then we could actually break down and do some real numbers, right? And again, we just did a very, very rough sketch, but I'm telling you, we could actually sit down and look at like, okay, what's the overall price? Minus. And like I said, there's I call it tuition reduction practices or college payment strategies. And you could do all of that and break that down, right? But then on top of that, then you start looking at, okay, what if I win these scholarships? Because with scholarships, it's finicky, because I'm trying to tell you, when you get on campus, there's probably a scholarship department that almost nobody goes in. And because they don't know what's there. And this is the thing about scholarships, because a lot of people, they feel like, oh man, I don't think I'm gonna get them. I don't know about that. And the reality is, because people don't try, that's why you're gonna win. Like, it's just, and I'll say this story and on that question. But Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. I think Kumar was the Indian guy. He worked for President Obama, right? And so he came to this conference, and there was two lines. There was a line for scholarships, and there was a line to meet him. The line to meet him was outrageous. There was probably about 15 of us out of 600 or 700 people in the scholarship line. Well, guess what? Almost everybody in that scholarship line got $1,000. So literally, you had all you literally had to do was stand in line and get $1,000, or you could get a line to meet him and try to get his autograph. There were so many people that didn't even meet him.
That's wild.
But it's wild. But I've seen this with my own eyes. That's why I'm like, yo, it's possible for any and everybody, right? So with that, I'm gonna close out. Unless Amoye, if you have some questions, we could try to tackle real quick, and then. All right, Olay?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
No, thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you here. Again, we're going to be doing this every week, Sunday, 2:00. And so if you're here, we could break down some real personal stuff. Again, try to get your friends here, because our thing is, we see a future where people have all the things that they need to do to be successful, not only at like college, and or even if they don't choose to go to college, they choose to do something else, but also life, right? And so part of that is having that financial freedom that comes when it's like, I don't have $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 worth of debt. And so that's why we're here. So thank you for joining us. Olay, you want to close us out?
All right. Thank you so much. This was our first episode where we actually got to do live in-person mentoring, and it was awesome. Thank you so much to Maya Taylor Hill. Thank you so much to Daniel Hill, our connector, our one of our day ones. I think we could call Daniel Hill. Daniel Hill got day one energy. I'm gonna tell you that right now, folks. Daniel Hill has day one energy. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Folks, I'm Olay Shorunke. Festus, I hope y'all enjoyed this mentoring session, and I hope this helps you as you continue to climb your ladder and ladder your success. All right, y'all take care. Have a great week.
All right, y'all. Be blessed. Mike.
Oh, you're still there? Well, thank you so much for listening to the LYS Podcast.